Welcome back. Unmade beds, knickknacks, posters, overdue books. That's some of what CBS News correspondent Steve Hartman found in his now Oscar-winning documentary, All the Empty Rooms, which looks at the bedrooms preserved by the parents because the children who occupied them were killed in school shootings. It's one of those rooms.
That's the outfit she had out.
This is what she was going to wear on Friday?
Well, she was either going to wear this outfit or this outfit.
She had like two
or
set
this
out.
dress. So,
Did you do this often? Prepare the
Yes.
next day's
Yeah.
clothes?
yeah, Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had given her this little trinket box. And when we had opened it, she had these letters in here. And these letters were notes to her future self.
I spoke with Hartman about the project and why he chose initially to keep it a secret. Here's some of our conversation. The film opens with two words, ready, yes. Tell me about that conversation.
I'm not sure which conversation you're talking about. Is it the opening sound of the film?
Yes. It's a
We're at the
question,
door?
ready, and you say yes.
Ready yet? Well, I think we're taking a deep breath before we knock on the door, as I recall. And that is me and photographer Lou Bope standing at the threshold of one of the parents, their home, about to go in and ask a big, huge favor of, can we photograph your child's bedroom? And you never know what to say when you're in those moments. You're just meeting somebody for the first time who's lost, a child, and it's just inevitably awkward. You don't want to say the thing that you should never say is like, I'm sorry for your loss, because then they don't know what to say to that. So it's always just a hurdle to get past that. But once we did, we got close.
And that's why I wanted to start there, Steve, because the film captures the loss of these parents, this unimaginable loss, but it is also a kind of silent commentary on the difficulty of the task you set to accomplish. Because it's hard on you, it's hard on Lou, you can see it, you can feel it, and I detected that there was, in that ready yes, a kind of inherent dishonesty. You can't ever be ready for that, and you can't ever confidently say yes, but you're plunging ahead anyway.
You're absolutely right. As journalists, part of the reason I became a feature reporter and did not cover hard news subjects is because I never wanted to be that reporter who was knocking on the door of somebody who just lost a loved one. I don't think we should do that in the aftermath, in the immediate aftermath of things like school shootings. I don't think that's our best look. But, after some time, I think the parents welcome us, as they did in this case, because they want the world to know who their child was. So I knew that I was to be welcomed, but it's still just a little, as a journalist, it's just a little uncomfortable, awkward. It took a great deal of trust on the part of the parents to open that door, especially to open that door to the next door, which was the bedroom of their child.
And this project, as the film says, took 7 years. Why did it take 7 years?
Because, as you might expect, I was asking to go into a very sacred space, the child's bedroom, and most parents didn't want to be part of that. Some because the room had been repurposed or the things had packed up. And so I was sending letters to pretty much every parent who lost a child since Sandy Hook, asking to be allowed into this sacred space. So it took a while to get enough yeses. And that's partly why it took so long. I also did this on the sly. I did not tell our minders at CBS News that I was even doing this project. So I was working this in on weekends when families would agree, and doing it on my own time because, quite frankly, I thought they would say no if I asked our bosses, because it's so off-brand for me. I'm the feel-good news guy, and I wanted to do it, but I didn't want somebody to say, no, you can't do it. So those are the main reasons why it took as long as it did.
Some of the best work I've done I've done without telling my bosses, Steve. So I applaud you for that instinct and that approach. I get the feeling, Steve, that if you could, you would melt the Oscar or put it in a wood chipper if you could give these families what they've lost back.
Absolutely. Everybody on the team, we got 2 Oscars for the team, and I think we would do that very thing because, yeah, when we won, there's joy, of course, even the parents, there was great joy on the faces of the parents who attended the Oscar ceremony with us. But at the same time, we would all, wish this story did not need to be told. But we do find purpose, all of us involved, in the fact that maybe we can help move the needle and make some progress because of the unique approach of the film. It's different, really, as you know, than anything else that's been done on the subject.
It is. And there's a word I want to discuss with you because you bring it up in the film, numb. It's a big word. It looms over this topic of school shootings and mass shootings in our country. And it's a deeply important word because if that's true, we're more lost than we realize.
And it has become true, at least on this subject. I know because I was numb. I'd covered school shootings and, eventually, pretty quickly, I would forget about them. I'd forget the names of the schools. I would forget the children who were lost, and I was numb. It was just another school shooting. And we saw it on our newscasts. The coverage that was 1 week long shrunk down to 2 or 3 days, shrunk down to 1 day. And it's just another thing that we just accept as living in America. And I thought before we were to make any progress on this issue, this epidemic, in terms of solving it, we had to lose that numbness. We had to have our empathy restored. So that was the purpose of the project. That's why I started doing it in the first place. That was the goal.
You can catch my full interview with Steve Hartman on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. In honor of the families in this film and all families who grieve because of these crimes, we say, we wish it were not so. We admire Steve Hartman for his work. We are not numb. Peace.